Alright, so here I have the CVA 400. I've never opened it before, so I'm going to open it for the first time and see what condition it's in. Alright, first glance, looks pretty good to me. This is loose. Maybe they should put it in a bag or something. The strings are tucked underneath the tailpiece, which is nice to protect in case this collapses, it won't scratch the paint. You take off this little piece of cardboard on the back and unzip it here. You can take off this little piece of paper. You're not going to need it. Alright. So this is what it looks like. And they've loosened the strings. And the back is really beautiful on this. I'm gonna do a review on it so you'll be able to check it out. But right now I'm just gonna show you how you set it up. So the first thing you need to do is you need to scope the bridge, make sure it's straight. It looks fairly straight, but I'm gonna pull it back slightly. You wanna have it back slightly before you tune the strings, or straight, so that as you tighten the strings, the bridge does not collapse and slap the belly of the viola. Okay, and then you need to check the sound post. Make sure that the sound post is upright and hasn't collapsed. That's very important. And if it's almost about to fall, you might want to try to straighten it out. But if it's fairly straight, there's not much, unless you want to bring it to Luther and have him straighten it out for you. You want to make sure it hasn't fallen, because if you tighten the strings up, put all that pressure on the belly, and the sound post is not up, you could do some damage. So the next step you want to do is tune the instrument. On my website, violaman.com, I have this tuner here, and you can start with the A. Then you go over to the D. Now I'm going to stop it because I don't really need that. But I want to mention that every time you tighten a string, you want to make sure that your bridge is still straight. Because as you're tightening the strings up, you're pulling the bridge forward a bit. So you would check again, and you go back to the top string again. Another thing you want to do is you want to loosen these little fine tuners here when you first tune the instrument over here, so that you have play later on to bring it up all the time. Keep checking the bridge kind of frequently to make sure it's not about to tip over. Now mine is already forward, so I'm just going to pull it back slightly. When you do this, by the way, I've done it so many times in my life that I'm running very little risk of going too far. But make sure your hands are stable on the instrument, and that you pinch it hard so that you can barely move it. You want to move it minimally, because it's very easy for a person to pull the bridge back so far back that it's going to collapse. But if you adjust it well enough in the beginning, you should be okay. Another thing I want to mention is that the bridge should be lined up with the little notches right here. If it's too far forward, you need to bring it back. The F-hole notches on the inside. There are measurements also you can take from here to here that you could check out. Okay, let's see. Alright, so that's ready to go. There's no shoulder rest in this case here, so I'll take out the bow now. The bow's wrapped up in plastic. There's probably no rosin on it at all, so if you were to try to play, there'd be no sound whatsoever. So you want to tighten the bow up so you have like about a half an inch or so, or a 3/8 to half an inch of tightness. And then you take the rosin, which should be in here somewhere. All right, let's look at this rosin. Okay, all right, so this rosin has never been used before, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's very, very shiny. And to use a rosin like this that has never been used before, it's not going to take on the hair that's never been used. So as I do this, it's very, very extremely smooth. That means that the rosin isn't really sticking. So what you need to do is you need to take a knife or something and scratch the surface slightly of the rosin so that so that it will actually take. I'm taking my keys to do it. And as you can see, I scratched the surface slightly. And now I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do this and press kind of hard as I'm doing it, because it takes a long time to get the rosin to stick on a bow that's just been rehaired and never used. So I need to do this for about 10 to 15 minutes till I start to feel friction. So I'll turn off the video and then I'll play a few notes for you just so you know that the viola is ready to go. Alright, so I've been aggressively applying rosin now for about 10-15 minutes. And the thing I didn't mention is that I always keep my finger over the metal part on the frog of the bow so that I'm hitting the edge of the rosin with my finger and not the metal. Because if you chip that rosin and you keep chipping it, the rosin can fall apart and you won't have much rosin left. Another thing I didn't mention is that when you're setting up the violin, before you start to tune it, the viola, before you start to tune it, make sure you have about an equal distance on the right side of the A string as you do on the left side of the C string. So this needs to be lined up approximately in the center. If anything, slightly more distance on the right side because of how your fingers come down on the fingerboard. So let's see what kind of a sound we have here. Not bad. Alright, so we have a sound. This is the CVA 400, and that's how you should set your instrument up when you get it from the factory. I'll be doing a review on this viola and a few others. Thank you for visiting Viola Man.